This time I'd like to call on Ms. Mary Lynn Kennelly for our invocation for the evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and before I do, I just would like to congratulate Mr. Ferguson on a new great-granddaughter that was born last night. So I'm just real proud for you and your family, so just wanted to acknowledge that. Would you let's bow in prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we all come to you tonight in prayer, and you know all of the burdens, you know all of the happinesses that are in our lives. We thank you for being our Lord and Savior, and I ask that you continue to give us your grace, your love, and your mercy. This life is not an easy road, and without you it would be even harder. I ask that you bless our men and women on foreign shores who are protecting our freedom. I ask that you keep them out of harm's way, and that you let them know that we really appreciate our freedom in this country and appreciate what they're doing for this country. I ask that you bless every family that is represented in this room tonight, dear Lord. And again, we thank you for the many, many blessings that you have given to us. And I'd like to close with this quote, dear Lord, that I ask that the words of our mouths and the meditations of our heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Kennelly. At this time, I will accept the motion to approve minutes of regular meeting May 13 and June 5.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. Okay. Now I will have a motion for the approval of the agenda for the afternoon.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. This time, we're going into public comment, and Ms. Brown, I'm going to get you to read the names and addresses and the comment subject matter.
Ms. Christina Fair would like to speak on the matter of Hindley.
Christina Fair.
My name is Christina Fair. I'm a business owner here in Winsboro. Our business pays very high taxes in this town, and it's very hard to succeed with such a high poverty level. It upsets me almost every day to drive down the main street and see so many boarded up businesses, factories that are shutting down, and failing schools. What upsets me even more is that somebody like Philip Hindley, who was elected to represent the people of this county, was caught in a scandal. And instead of being properly sanctioned or asked to step down for what he did, instead he takes a 5% pay cut. A 5% pay cut from a salary of over $130,000 a year. Doesn't seem like very much of a punishment, but rather a slap on the back and, hey, see you in 6 months. 5% off of that is nothing. So really, instead of just going to work every day, looking at porn and, getting something done for your $130,000, Mr. Hindley, instead you get to now take a paid vacation with that money. And what I would like to know is, while you're gone, is somebody going to step in? I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Don't respect.
Is somebody going? I'm sorry. I'm trying to word this in a way that is not a question, but I simply hope that a substitute or somebody to act in your place will not be hired in the meantime at a cost to the taxpayers. I guess what really upsets me right now is that when there's so much poverty in this town, when I go in to pay my water bill, every time, and I could swear on a stack of Bibles, every single time that I'm in there, there's somebody saying that they cannot afford their water for that month. Help me, they say, please give me some more time. And the answer is always, well, we'd like to, blah, blah, blah. But it really upsets me that this county is putting so much money into y'all. It just, What I would just like to say is that I thought that this was not a punishment at all to have a paid vacation for 6 months. And in the end, it is the taxpayers that are truly getting punished, not the individual that did the crime. So, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Bob Harrison would like to speak on the subject of Mr. Heinley.
My name is Bob Harrison. I'm addressing you tonight in regards to the recently discovered alleged misuse by County Administrator Phil Heinley of county property to view and disseminate pornography, and your response to this moral misconduct. I realize that you would like for Mr. Heinley's alleged reprehensible behavior to just go away. I have watched you as you first dismissed it as nothing. I watched as you then responded only because of the public outcry for some disciplinary action. I was sorely disappointed when you approved council's remedy, an insignificant and unenforceable probationary period. I feel I should add, for your information, that I had become privy to this alleged activity some 4 to 6 weeks ago, as I was recipient of a package containing copies of the SLED incident report of their investigation, along with copies of the alleged emails and alleged copies of the photos. I assure you that this was not soft porn. It was graphic and disturbing. I assume that each of you has had an opportunity to view this material. Your administrator has allegedly violated the public trust and moral code, and this is not going to go away until the discipline is commensurate with those alleged violations. How can we ever regain a sense of trust in this man? How can we expect our vendors and prospective employers and clients to engage in negotiations with the man of this moral fiber? I'm given to wonder if in your deliberations of the proper disciplinary response to this betrayal, you ever considered what Mr. Heinley himself would do if the errant employee had been one of his rank and file of county employees. It is well known amongst county staff that Mr. Heinley does not countenance staff violations or disagreements. Lest you doubt it, you might want to ask Carol Ann Yarborough, or Buddy Bailey, or Barbara Meekins, or Mike Hollis.
Let's keep your comments general, not calling names. Thank you.
Okay? I'll just say then in closing that paragraph that the hypocrisy should be obvious to you. As you are all aware, I've worked for Fairfield County for almost 13 years. I worked indirectly for Mr. Heinley, so I have a perspective unknown to the normal constituent. You folks were my indirect boss for a good long while, and I did not bite the hand that fed me. Now, however, is an interesting juxtaposition because now you work for me, and I want you to reconsider your decision. It is important for you to understand that this probation is unenforceable. Firstly, your enforcement arm, the IT director, the IT director is incapable of monitoring Mr. Heinley email without actually intercepting those emails and forwarding. Thank you.
Ms. Rhonda Bright would like to speak on the subject of Mr. Heinley.
I'm Wanda Bright. I'm a resident of Fairfield County. I feel compelled to speak tonight to express my extreme disappointment with the Fairfield County Council's low employee standards. Specifically, I refer to the council's hand slap of Philip Heinley, who would have been terminated from the private sector for the following violations occurring from at least 2010 through what appears in the packet that I viewed to be early 2013. These violations: A lack of integrity in using county property to send forward and comment on non-county business. Item B, unprofessional conduct in use of the county property to send lewd messages and photos, thus embarrassing the county and its constituents. C, and most important, female degradation, which alone would bring immediate termination elsewhere, and also puts this county in a vulnerable position for sexual discrimination lawsuits.
Thank you.
As a highly compensated county employee, and no doubt about it, he is highly compensated, Mr. Heinley should be setting an example for professional conduct, not professional misconduct. And I say, shame on each of you who profess to want to bring Fairfield County into the 21st century. Yet, you refuse to hold key employees accountable for their actions. You sidestep concerns that when citizens question these emails that I have seen and packets that do seem to be documented. And 3, throw roadblocks at the media when they ask for information that is indeed due the public. It appears that many of you here have forgotten whom you serve. Thank you.
Claps and that kind of stuff in this meeting. Now, we'll say this, the next time that happens, if you can't sit in this room and act like an adult, then you will be asked to leave. It's going to be held like an official meeting, that's what it is, and that's the way it's going to be treated. Ms. Brown?
Reverend Vandale Davis is asked to speak on the matter of recreation.
Good evening. Appreciate this opportunity to come before council and others on this day. I have come to ask council and others in our community to assist us in a situation that we have in the Dawkins community. It is a situation that has been designed for that community to receive adequate recreational and safety situations that exist in our community. The funding for this project has been lying on the ground in the Dawkins community for some years. And we have begged and begged and begged to have council to go ahead with what they have laid out as a plan for the young people and adults of the Dawkins community to have a genuine area for the safety of their children and the community. And we have beat our heads up against the wall over years. Reverend Johnny Bird was the leader of getting this set up for the Dawkins community, and it has not been done. And so what we are asking for is the council to sit with us and as professionals to carry this out. I had the opportunity to go to McCrory-Liston and to visit all of our schools. We do this on a regular basis. And we see Lovejoy in many of our halls as we go up and down the halls checking the school and the students. And we know that we are an excellent school district. And we have taken what God has given to us and we have used it well. And we don't see any reason why we cannot get the council or some segment of the council to sit with us and some of the members of the Dawkins community to take care of this situation. Because pretty soon, we're going to have some dangerous situations as well as some injured citizens in our community. I would appreciate that, and if there's anything that we can do to help you with this issue, just let us know. Thank you.
Ms. Petrina Williams and Mr. Darius Williams, if you all would just come and line up behind one another, and you'll have your 3 minutes each. They both want to speak on the Dawkins building.
Good afternoon. My name is Petrina Williams. I grew up in the Dawkins community, and those of us that's from Dawkins, we know that Dawkins is an area that has lots of potential, but it has been deprived from our county for quite a while now. As an adult, I still live in the Dawkins in Blair area. I live on the outskirts of Dawkins now. I actually vote in Mr. Travis' district. As a child and a teenager, it would have been nice to have a facility to go to that offered various programs. And as an adult and a parent, it would be assuring to have a facility with a safe environment for the community and to appreciate such as the one in Winsboro. The thoughts of seeing my children and grandchildren having a chance to take advantage of some of these same programs that has always been available to the children in Winsboro brings pleasure to my heart, since my ancestors and myself was not fortunate to have it. If we had a building located in Western Fairfield, we would not have to travel approximately 30 miles to rent a building to go to have gatherings such as meetings, family reunions, wedding reception, etc. For instance, when I got married, which was about 4 years ago, I had my wedding at my church, which is in Dawkins, but I had to drive to Newberry for my reception because that was the closest facility that I could go to. If we did have the building there in Dawkins, I could have had my reception there. And all the money that I spent for the rental, the coordinator, the decorator, all that money would have stayed in Fairfield County. So I just come before you and ask you to give us the building that was carried out in the motion on February 28th of 2005 that promised us the building and a recreation plan to be put forward, beginning with the Western Fairfield.
My name is Darius Williams. I'm an athlete at Fairfield Central High School. I feel that we should have a recreational community center in Dawkins because one, we have been deprived of the opportunities that we have. We have the land, we might as well use it for the good and just sitting there wasting space. Our kids should have somewhere to go where they can feel safe and reassured that they're in a good area where they can better themselves. If you just leave it there sitting there, you're not doing a service to anybody. It's not helping us or our community by just sitting there. We need to use it. For the good, for the betterment of the community.
Ms. Brenda Miller would like to speak on the state of the county.
Good afternoon. I'm Brenda Miller. I live in Winsboro. Winsboro is a part of Fairfield County. This statement is painful for me because as individuals, I count council members as my friends. You visited my home and we've seen each other out at restaurants. Over the last few years, I've developed a lack of confidence and a lack of trust in you as a council. I am tired of Fairfield County politics as usual, and y'all all know what I mean. This county has a statewide reputation of contentiousness and lack of fiscal responsibility. Now make no mistake, this reputation goes far from county lines because I have friends, as y'all do, all over the county. This is an embarrassment to me. To quote Oliver Hardy, we never see ourselves as others see us. As a council, there's a pattern of a lack of cooperation between the incorporated towns of Winsboro, Ridgeway, and Jenkinsville. At the intergovernmental meetings, lip service is given to the goal of working together, but county council has become overtaken by a my way or the highway ideology. County council members are elected to serve the entire county, but as a representative from each individual district, not just your district. The good of the whole comes before the good of the part. Each of you is elected to foster consensus, unity with every governing body in this county. That includes the municipalities, the school board, the hospital board, and every other civic board that's in this county. County council is a lay council. Y'all are not professionals. You're lay people elected from the county. We have to have new and innovative professional leadership. Look at our budget. This county can afford to hire the brightest and the best professional leaders possible. This is not a situation where we can misstep. It's critical. If you're not a part of the solution, council, then you're part of the problem, and you should resign. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bruce Wadsworth on the matter of the Dawkins building.
Good afternoon. I've been here numerous times, and I asked the board to consider putting that brick in the Dawkins area. I want to take the term "consider" out of my vocabulary. That building was, my father always told me, something worth having is worth waiting for. We waited long enough. That building is sitting somewhere doing nobody any good. We have some AAU players. They don't even have nowhere to practice ball during the summer because the schools are closed. If that gym was out there, as I stated before, it'll make a big improvement, not just for the kids, but for the adults also. Why have a building sitting somewhere for so long, how many years now, and nobody's using it? That means taxpayers has wasted money on a building that's sitting there and the taxpayers paid for it. So why not go ahead and put that building where it's designed to be? It's already been granted to us. If you guys can't do it, put me in touch with someone who can get it done. Because I haven't gotten a feedback, I haven't got a response from the last 2 meetings that we've been in. I feel like we're getting neglected. And that building is sitting there doing nobody any good. Who paid for that building? I mean, it's a waste of money that's been wasted for years now. Why not go ahead and put the building up? I mean, what is it gonna hurt? Who is it gonna help? The Dawkins community. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't tell whether this is Marvin or Malik Jeter. Malik.
My name is Malik Pete, and I live in the Dawkins community. And having a rec in Dawkins would be a great idea because kids in Dawkins community just sit in the house, watch TV all day. And they'll get them an opportunity to get out the house, have activities to engage in. Plus, my AAU team, we usually practice at the Coalition from 6 to 8, but since they closed over summer, we ain't have anywhere to play. If we had the rec, we had someone to practice at.
Thank you. Mr. William Coleman on the matter of county administrator.
Thank you. I'm William Coleman. I'm a lifelong resident of Fairfield County. Council members, I was at last Wednesday night's special call meeting and waited while you council meeting members went into executive session. When you came out of the executive session and made known the verdict that was to be handed down to our administrator for his behavior with regard to emails containing obscene content, I was relieved that you felt that such behavior was inappropriate. However, I'm not pleased that the punishment didn't match the crime, so to speak. Just as you would hold anyone in a leadership position to a higher standard, that should be the case here. The policy book shouldn't matter. In the name of industrial recruitment, I know this council has worked hard to clean up the county. All aspects should be addressed during this cleanup, including email usage, language to a reporter when questioned, and so forth. Is this going to hurt our recruitment efforts? I certainly do believe so. Don't you think any, and this is not a question, don't you think any industry would want to deal with a no-nonsense type of council, a council that won't tolerate this type of behavior from any of its employees? I suggest that you visit this issue once again and let the people of this county and state know that you will step up to the plate and show that this type of behavior isn't acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Betty Scott Frazier Bell would like to speak on response to the county council time during the May 13th meeting.
Thank you. I'm Katie Scott Frazier, and I live at Salem Crossroad. Grew up here, went away to college, husband. We were away 25 years, Washington, D.C.
Pull the mic down a little bit.
Kansas. You don't want me to do this, probably. Okay. Moved back to Salem Crossroad in 2004. I appeared before County Council in 2010 on an issue in Jenkinsville, and at that time, you all, the format was that we spoke for 3 minutes and then you'd ask questions. Oliver Johnson and I and Chris Blair sat through the meeting through the Midlands Tech program with the president, and we departed. We left the meeting. I have a copy of the DVD, and in your council time, there was a comment made that outside we had said that we didn't care and that we didn't need jobs. We never said that. And nowhere in this tape, DVD, is any indication that we ever said either one of those things. That was a quote that was directly made by someone sitting on council. And if James Denton's here, I think he is, I appreciate you making your correction in your paper. It was a quarter of an inch, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I was giving him a compliment. I'm sorry. Another comment that was made is that you that you have to look out for poor people, and that another comment was made that there's a man and woman sitting at home without a job, and you have to look out for that person. I agree. However, I put together some numbers. Mary Lynn has been on council 17 years, David Ferguson 15 years, David Brown 31 years, Dwayne Perry 7 years, and I love David Brown. David and I went to high school together. Dwayne Perry 7 years, my 15 years. I love having you my district councilman. Michael, you're my neighbor, 11 years. And Carolyn, you and I went to high school together. You and Oliver graduated in the same class. I like every one of you. Mary Lynn, I mean, I'm not here. Uh-oh. I'll put it in the paper. And I'll make sure they get it right. I'll buy this paper.
That concludes the public comment.
At this time, we will have a public presentation, and the first presentation is by our House of Representatives, Representative, Mr. Miguel Douglas. Ms. Douglas? Yes, that's great. Right there is fine.
Mr. Chair and council members, thank you for giving us this time this afternoon to pay tribute to somebody that's been in our county for a number of years, and on April 4th, I believe, went on and went to another home called Heaven. I'm going to ask Carnell Murphy's wife and his children, if they're here, if I may, to come up. Is that appropriate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if I could do that. And while they're coming, those that are family members of Mr. Murphy, if you're here in that mode, please stand so that we'll know and the family will have that support as well. Thank you. Being part of the House of Representatives for South Carolina, it gives us an opportunity to pay recognition to people that have meant an awful lot to our community. And as I say that, Elizabeth, I say that for Carnell, and it's hard to believe it's been 2 months ago, I think, on April 4th. But there's a House resolution that has been done, and it's by the full House. And it just says that we want to express, I'm not going to read the whole thing, because I want you to read this when you get home. To express the sorrow of the members of the House, of the South Carolina House of Representatives upon his passing. It goes on to say that he was born in Fairfield County. It goes on to say that he had the humility of a servant. It says that he spent 34 years of his life in the Fairfield County Public Schools, where he served not only as teacher, coach, athletic director, transportation supervisor, the Stay in School program, and it goes on and on. And we could be here for a while for me listing all of that. He was also very active, as we all know, in the political arena and in many civic organizations in this county. Fairfield County meant an awful lot to him. He was member of this council right here in this room and in other rooms before this one for a total of 22 years. He served some of those years as chairman. He served on a number of, we need help with that. It goes on to say that his past accolades are many. One of the things that the South Carolina House of Representatives honored him with was a nationally recognized at-risk program in the county. He served in many capacities. He was chair of the South Carolina Judicial Review Committee of Black elected officials and a number of other development boards. Not only was he very active in the community and loved his community and this county, but more than that, he loved this woman that stands here beside me, and I know that. And he loves her. So it says he leaves to cherish his memory his devoted wife, Elizabeth Davis Murphy, the love of his life for more than 43 years, 4 children, 4 great-grandchildren, and a host of other family members and friends. It says now, be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of the South Carolina House of Representatives express their profound sorrow upon the passing of Carnell Murphy, senior Fairfield County. In addition to that, we have 4 copies here, and I realize that I probably should have had one more made. In addition to that, on Thursday, April 11th, 1 week later, in the Journal of the House of Representatives, where every item of business was conducted that day, we adjourned in memory of Carnell that day, and that is listed in this as well. And there are copies of this for you too, Elizabeth. Please know how proud we are of you and his family, and thank you for everything.
I
I would like for the family to stay in the front at this time. I'd like the council to adjourn with me in front of the podium. And we also have a proclamation, and Ms. Brown is going to read it. And we're going to present this to Ms. Liz and to Mr. Cornell's children.
State of South Carolina, County of Fairfield, a proclamation to the family of the late Mr. Cornell Murphy Sr., recognizing his service to Fairfield County as a former member of Fairfield County Council. Whereas Mr. Cornell Murphy Sr. was born in Fairfield County, South Carolina on March 12, 1947, to the late Thomas and Marguerite Weldon Murphy. And whereas Mr. Murphy departed this earthly life on Thursday, April 4, 2013, and his leadership, dedication, loyalty, and boundless energy in our business community will be sorely missed by the people of Fairfield County, as well as by his family and numerous friends. And whereas Mr. Murphy served on Fairfield County Council for 22 years, from January 1st, 1985 until December 31st, 2006. 8 1/2 of those years were served as chairman. Whereas during his lifetime, he served in numerous capacities and on diverse boards and agencies, Mr. Murphy was a great ambassador who knew his community, its problems and needs, and worked diligently with scores of people throughout the county and state in an effort to bring about change and empowerment. And whereas we believe the following words, excerpted from a poem written by author, speaker, and poet Linda Ellis, would be proper and fitting to say about Mr. Murphy, and in his own favorite words, would take all the ambiguity out of it. As we refer to the date of his birth and the date of his passing, from the beginning to the end, what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth. And now, only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it does not matter how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. Whereas Mr. Murphy is survived by his wife of more than 43 years, Elizabeth Davis Murphy, 4 children, Yolanda, Cornella, Cornell Jr., and Jamile, 4 grandchildren, Ikea, Ikayla, Christopher, and Jamile Jr., his godchildren, Henry and Loretta Long, Marlon Elgin, Darius Gaither, Harvey Thomas, Averill Allen, and Marcy Bush. Now therefore, we quote the words Mr. Murphy left for the people of Fairfield County on December 11, 2006, which was the last Fairfield County Council meeting he served. I have enjoyed it. I don't have one regret about it, and I just say thank you to the people of this county. Be it resolved that Fairfield County Council issues this proclamation to the family of the late Mr. Cornell Murphy Sr. in recognition of his service as a former member of Fairfield County Council, made this 10th day of June in the year of our Lord, 2013.
And on behalf of the Murphy family, I'd like to thank Mary Gail and I'd like to thank County Council for their recognition of my husband. And I have one challenge to County Council. Love your county the way Murphy loves it. Love your constituents the way he loved them. Get in your car and ride the roads, check the roads, see if they have holes that need to be fixed. But be accessible to the people at all times. And thank you all so much. We all have vacation Bible school, and then we're going to leave and thank you.
It is now 6:47. I'm going to open the public hearing on ordinance to amend ordinance number 583, roads, highways, and bridges. Follows revised section 120, road paving program. Ms. Brown, we had two people to sign up. If you will call those to the podium, please.
Mr. Robert Shaw. Mr. Shaw and Mr. Green, we ask that you be mindful of the 3-minute limitation as well.
Thank you. I've read over the opposed amendment to the ordinance, and I'm here in particular because of one which is proposed and been voted on to be paved now, a Chinook Drive at 0.8 miles, dead end with, according to the U.S. Post Office, absolutely no restaurants. Absolutely none for the U.S. Post Office. I went to them and have not received relief. This is dead end, 0.8 mile, no turnaround. The county person, paid county person, that has not done his investigation even under the old ordinances as to the qualifications for this road to be paved. Now, I know the county council has nothing to do with the actions of the CTC, but they do oversee the CTC, since this is money which is returned, gas money which is returned by the state for the county of Fairfield to use in the maintenance of its transportation system. This is a dead-end road. I am the only one who lives down it. I live on the U.S. Forestry Park, so I am not considered part of it by law. Actually, everyone has been forced to have mailboxes elsewhere. But they continue to persist in the fact that they want to spend county money on this dead end, no access, no through, no turnaround, in effect, driveway. Approve everything that I see in the ordinance. I just request the county council to see that the CTC, in their wisdom, carries out this ordinance. And the county's monies, and I'm calling them county monies, they come back from the state through our gas, not be used for purposes which are of no public benefit, only the people down there. And there is no people down there, no residents. I may be called a resident, but I'm the only one. So, I would like to thank you for your time, and that we look into this, how this is done, and also request that you look into the fact, and I don't know how it's done, that the CTC, in the type of hard topping that they are doing, may need to be changed, because in our very area, Strutter Road, less than 5 years since it was put hardtop under this program, is already approved to be redone. they are not putting in a quality, let's put in quality work that's gonna stay with us. Not something that looks good for a couple of days. Because when these timber trucks come in there, we need a better system. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Mr. Val Green.
Mr. Chairman, Council, my name's Val Green. I live in the downtown Salem Crossroads. I want to talk about what Mr. Schill talked about. Two small items in this ordinance you all are working on. The first one is the way you have defined a county road. And you put it in here as a public road, and in fact, some county roads may be public roads, some are not. The one road that I'm concerned about right now is Chinook, just like Robert. We have about 90% of frontage on that road, and our line is right down the middle of that road. But you all have, through your CTC, you have defined this as a county road, and yet you may have prescriptive easement on that road to pass over it, but you do not have any kind of legal right to that road, and I don't think maintenance gives you that legal right. You would either get that through a statute of some kind, or case law, or buy it from us. Other than that, you take it by eminent domain. But other than that, you do not have a right to pave this road, in my opinion. And to do so would, I think, would harm Mr. Shaw and I would encourage you to take another look at the way you define this thing and come out with a better way of deciding what constitutes public roads and what does not.
Mr. Chairman, would you ask Mr. Green to give us that road again, please, sir?
Chinook Drive.
Chinook Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
In that district, do you know whose district that's in?
District 3.
Mr. Stratton.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am.
Any comment from council? Hearing none, I close this public hearing at 6:55. And down to item 8, by title only, ordinance resolution, ordinance number 617. Would you read that ordinance for us, Ms. Brown?
First reading by title only, ordinance number 617, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 541, ordinance to regulate abandoned buildings, mobile homes, and manufactured homes, regulate public nuisances, and regulate abandoned, dismantled, junked, wrecked, or inoperative vehicles in the unincorporated areas of Fairfield County, to provide for definitions, and to provide for enforcement and penalties as follows. Remove Article 2, Abandoned and Dangerous Buildings, in its entirety. Amend Section 3, Manufactured/Mobile Homes, Section 4.8, 4.A6, and Section 4.B1.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Ms. Robinson, did you have a question on this particular item?
I thought it was non-debatable.
Not for debate. If you're looking for a definition, is what I'm...
Well, I had asked the question originally about the mobile home title. And whenever mobile homes are abandoned, demolished, what you do about the title. And I think we had Mr. James looking into that for us, and I'd just like to see what he found.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Talked with Mr. Stowers about that, and I think last time we might have been talking about apples and oranges. I was talking about moving it down the road. According to Mr. Stowers, when the landowner owns the mobile home, of course, the mobile home can be demolished and moved. If the landowner does not own the mobile home, he said you need to come up with the title or at least a letter of authorization to demolish the mobile home. And then it can be, of course, when it's demolished, there's no necessity to have the title, because to move it down the road because it'll just be in pieces. It won't be moved as you normally would on wheels or using the tongue and things like that. So that's what I found as far as that goes.
Well, I thought we were also talking about demolishing property. We've talked about taking roll-offs out there so that you could put all the damaged product in it and then clean everything up. There is, under the South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles, will the Department of Motor Vehicles remove the abandoned mobile home from your property? Of course, the answer is no. What happens to the title of a mobile home that I have demolished? Once the department receives notification from the county auditor or the demolisher that the mobile home has been destroyed, the department will mark the vehicle as junked, and no future titles can be issued for the mobile home. So in other words, there is necessary work that has to be done on any of these mobile homes, so that regardless of what our office says, to take care of that so it's all cleaned up in the Department of Motor Vehicles. There's also the actual form that you complete. It costs $6 to issue a request. If you want it within 72 hours, it costs $20. But it says contact, this is also in case it goes through a magistrate's office. And I think some of these matters that we're dealing with will be going through the magistrate's office because they're the ones who have to deal with the title. But it says that after the magistrate's office receives the necessary correspondence from the DMV, they can order a magistrate's sale if they need to, but that's not what we're talking about. This order can be used to apply for a South Carolina title in case there is no title out there. And if you've ever worked with mobile home titles, they're the dickens. That's the only way I can describe it. Because I have literally been to the highway department several months ago on one title. Not once, not twice, how about 7 times? Because every time you went back, they said, oh no, we gotta have this. So I've made me a check-off list so we don't have to go through that again. But it says once a vehicle has been declared salvaged, non-rebuildable, or junked in the DMV files, no further titles will be issued. So there is a process that we need to go through to get this cleaned up, not just for the county, but we've got to clean it up on state records too. And I'm sorry that state law precedes anything else that we set here. Thank you.
This time, give Mr. Anderson look into this and make sure that we're complying with what the stated law, both state and county law is, that we're adhering to that. Okay? All right? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. Our next reading is second reading ordinance number 616. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Okay.
About the new ordinance in terms of the roads and highways. The CTC committee has met, and I think the last time I remember, we talked about off a major highway that it would extend, in order to pave the road, would extend 1,000 feet. Is that still part of that ordinance? The reason why I ask this, there are some dirt roads that need to be paved that might be a mile long, that's over 5,000 feet. And you might have 12, 13, 14 homes. But if I read the ordinance right, it says, I don't care if you have 13 homes, we're only going to pave up to 1,000 feet, and the rest will be dirt. Am I understanding that correctly?
The only variation, Mr. Masseria, in paving roads that were partial was if it was going to be a tie-in road with another road that was going to be or had been paved already, like out in Ms. Robinson's district out at Lake Wateree. There are some roads out there that was paved, but the injunction roads that connected them are still dirt. And that was the thing that the CTC was going back and cleaning up, was the conjunction roads that tied those roads together, no matter what the length of them, and even though most of them did not, or matter of fact, I don't think any of them had houses on them, was that they were going to go ahead and do it to make the whole road paved, instead of you have a section of it paved and then dirt, and then another section of it paved and then dirt, and that kind of stuff. Ms. Brown just handed me page 13 of that ordinance, and it is it goes into the formula that was brought to us at our regular council meeting night. But that was my understanding. It says county maintained feeder roads, and I was trying to come up with that term, but it's called a feeder road. Less than 1,000 feet with residents will be considered as part of the primary road, and both roads will be resurfaced as one project. County maintained feeder roads greater than 1,000 feet will not be combined with primary roads, will be considered a separate project. However, a feeder road is defined as a secondary road used to bring traffic to a primary road that is or is to be paved.
It's not a dead-end road.
No. Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I would just also like to, I know this is a second reading only, to make sure that we investigate and address Chinook Drive, which Mr. Shaw talked about, from a legality standpoint, to see if that is a county road or not a county road that's on the books to be paved, if it's already in the road paving process.
Mr. James, could you address that for us? I know we've addressed it before, and these two gentlemen has brought up some conversation about it. The terminology of roads being county roads or county access roads has something to do with the maintaining of that road. Ms. Jack, could you lend us some expertise on that area, please?
What I understand, the county claims a prescriptive easement, which Mr. Green mentioned a minute ago. Prescriptive easement basically is a road that's been used or maintained for a period of at least 20 years, and with a continual situation. And so that's more or less the reason that it's considered to be a county road, is because it's been maintained for that period of time. And that's I think the long and short of it.
Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, does that answer your question?
Right now, Mr. Chairman, maybe I would like to get a little bit more clarification before we have our third and final vote.
Well, let's do it like this then, if that's the case. Mr. Heinley, this will become your chore to make sure that we have the legal right to pave that road that CTC has seen fit to pave. Make sure that we're following the legal precedents that we have to actually physically pave that road before we have third and final reading on it, which will probably be at our next meeting night. Okay. Mr. Marshall.
I have a question about, and I might have to do a little research. When not a driveway, but a lane, if it's named, Lewis and Clark Lane, and it has 5, 6, 7 houses, less than 1/10 of a mile. It's almost like a little community. I didn't see anything in those ordinances that address the lanes, unless I missed it. And would that be eligible for paving?
If it's dirt, the county has maintained it. Mr. been a county-maintained road, and there are houses on it, more than one house, it qualifies to come under this program.
To me, it was mostly a driveway that runs right into 5 or 6 houses, right, compacted. And there is some tar and stuff there, but I don't see where it ever been maintained. So, and it has been some tar paved at some point in time, but no maintenance. So do they qualify to have their lane paved?
The question there, Mr. Marshall, is has the county maintained that road?
It's a lane, not a road, but no, they have not maintained it, but they're requesting to have it paved because at one point in time it was paved, apparently.
Well, it was a state road then.
You know, I see it as a driveway and they called it a lane. And it's officially a lane according to the county. Now when the lanes get to be paved because there's no apparent upkeep from the county. But it's named.
Well, there again, what we were just talking about, does the county have the right to pave, go in and actually physically do anything to that road? Because if the county does not have any jurisdiction on it, then it would have to go all the way back to who are the owners, and you would have to start that process like we did the process we did out in your district before. Because if it's never been deeded or turned over to the county, and the county has never physically worked it, then the county can't go onto it and take access of it.
I would like to explore this with Mr. Anderson, Mr. Lucas, and just go take a look at that so we can, so the citizens that live on that area can be satisfied whether or not we can or can't do it.
Okay, Mr. Hindley, would you work that out? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. We ready for the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. We are now down to number 9. You saw the board and commission minutes that were sent to you. Number 10, board and commission appointment. You see Ms. Brown put that before you. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
I retired from.
Miss Mary Lynn is no longer
I retired
associated
Friday,
with the
so I
hospital.
can now vote on hospital issues. Thank you.
I would like to say this appointment, once we vote on it, is from District 5. This person does not reside in District 5, but they will be representing my district, District 5, on the hospital board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. Ms. Brown, would you announce the name and address of the...
The name of the individual is Sonia Kennedy, and her application is on my desk, and I'm not familiar with her address at the moment.
All right. We are now down to 11. Request by Mr. Bill Haslett to display the county diorama. Mr. Anderson, you did a little research on that. We had some questions. Would you tell the council and the audience what you found out about the couple of questions that we had before us, that came up before us?
Yes, sir. I think the answer to the question that you asked was the insurability of us lending a county asset out to a private business owner of the liability insurance. And we did cover that through my office today of $50,000. That way if something would happen to the property, it will be covered.
All right. Council, was there anything else that you would like to discuss or make known or anything about this before we actually physically vote on it? To let the public basically know what we're talking about is some dioramas that was Ms. Lyles, Ms. Vaughn, went and got from the Chroma Corporation, and they've been stored for quite some years in the town of Winsboro shop area up there. And Mr. Haslett is redoing a building he has on Main Street, and he wants to actually display those dioramas in his building. And he asked the county to physically loan those to him so that they would come out of storage and be actually viewed by the public. And that's what the council is taking into consideration tonight, is letting those things come out of storage and actually be viewed by the public. He's going to upgrade them and see that if there's anything that needs to be repaired on them, he's going to do that at his expense. Mr. Anderson told you that they will be, the insurance will be physically taken care of like it always has by the county, because they are county property, and that's kind of where we are. So at this point in time, do I have a motion to loan these things to Mr. Bill Haslett for display?
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I think I've voiced this before, and the constituency I talked to knows something about it. I doubt that many people even aware that it even exists in the county. But we talked about this some years ago. In fact, we had some of the sites laid out for us. And I found some things about it to be offensive as it relates to the African American community, although folks said it was history, it was kind of a representation of history and whatnot. I thought the depiction of African Americans was kind of reprehensible to me. That might not be with everybody else, and I think I expressed that before. In the absence of that being displayed, all our rest seemed to be about animals and all the other different stuff. If that's going to be included within that display, I will not vote for it.
Okay. Anybody else got a comment? So now's the time. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by the same sign.
Nay.
We are 5-1, Ms. Brown. Okay. We didn't have any new business to perform. We're now down to County Administrator's report. Mr. Heinley.
Yes, sir. I've got a report from Mr. Bismarck. We have been, the code department has been putting together a list of code violations, remedies taken, dates of correction of violation, and this is for your information. In a separate also, we have a list of litter cases that have been processed between the months of January and April. We will begin supplying you with a monthly report of our activities, what has taken place, what has been corrected, so that you will be aware at all times of what your code department is doing. Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have, but I think the report speaks for itself. It's what has been done the identification of the address of the code violation, the status of the case, and the date it was addressed. And then the other report, again, the address of the code violation, the nature of the violation, and action taken to prevent the violation. And so that you may be aware at all times of what the code department again is doing. This will be an ongoing monthly report.
This is one of the things that we've been trying to do to upgrade the community to like abandoned cars and abandoned buildings, abandoned mobile homes, and going to meetings all over the state. These abandoned mobile homes is something that every county is dealing with, and the way we've done them now is to provide a dumpster for a constituent to tear the mobile home down and put it into that dumpster, and our county truck will go back and in a certain number of days and pick that dumpster up and take it away from that property. We found that's the best way to get those mobile homes that's past the vintage of 1975, and there's some of them with as many as 2 or 3 abandoned mobile homes on the same piece of property. And that's the only way we've been able to. There's been 3 or 4 ways tried to remedy this in different counties, but this seems to be the better resolution that we found. And this is what we're doing now is going out there and putting a dumpster out there and giving them, what is it, must answer 30 days or something, 30 days to clean it up and put it in the dumpster, and then they go back and get it. That little bit of money that we invest in it does a whole lot of good as far as moving those things off of property and the way it looks. Okay, we're now, Ms. Tyler, is that all your report?
Everybody has a good week, sir.
Okay, we're now down to clerk council report.
Hope everybody has a good week, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And now down to county council time. Anything for good council?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure council will remember that we do the van to take these students to Middle College down at Midlands Tech. And I have 3 pictures from 3 young ladies from Ridgeway that have sent us their graduation pictures and a note of just thanks for getting the van to take them back and forth. And their mother has called me and said they would not have been able to do this had we not provided the van. So I'm going to, Mr. Perry, let you look at them, and then I'll pass them down and let council see these young ladies, which was very important, I think. Just a couple of comments on some of the things that were made during public comment time. Personnel issues are very delicate. It amazes me how much information has gotten out there, and I don't think SLED gave information out, and I really am interested to see where it came from. You know, the pictures that I've been hearing about and the packet of stuff that's going around, and I mean, we would be very derelict if we had passed out all that information on a personnel issue. And there are times with personnel issues you cannot discuss a lot of things. Council did not feel comfortable voting earlier on anything, and I would not have voted on anything talked about earlier because I wanted all the facts. I'm still not sure we have all the facts. In fact, I know we do not. And I am so sorry that there's so much frenzy out there, but there comes a time you kind of have to put a little trust in folks. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And I guess I will just have to ask you to do that for a while. Just one comment, Ms. Fair, the county is not in the water business. That's the town's business with the water bills.
I was addressing the poverty level.
Right.
That's what I was addressing.
And I realized that was a problem probably about 5 years ago, and I asked the town to look into the issue of letting them pay along on their bills.
That's not the issue. My issue is how much...
Excuse me, this is not going to be a discussion. This is a comment made by council members. Thank you.
But I just wanted to say, we understand the poverty level. It has not just happened in Fairfield County, we all know that. But we are just not in the water business. And Ms. Brenda, I'm sorry, I don't understand why we are looked at as not being cooperative. We have never said no to the hospital when they've made a request for us in the last 10 or 12 years that I know of. With the school board, with their increase in the millage, we asked diligently, tried to get a meeting with them. Since we were the taxing entity, we had no bearing on what they decided to do. We just wanted to find out how they were doing it. So when we asked for questions from our constituents, you're the taxing entity, why are you doing this? We had nothing to do with that, but we were not given a meeting to discuss that with them. And the town of Ridgeway, we have worked with them. Charlene Herring, I think, would be a very supportive comment on that for the county, that we have worked with the town of Ridgeway. And we do work with the town of Winsboro a great deal. A lot of our employees interact with their employees, do things for them, and that's gone on for years. So I'm sorry that it appears we don't work together. I think everybody up here on this council would say that we have, and I just wanted to respond to those comments. And it has just been amazing to me, the feeding frenzy, and I think we've got to wait till we have all the information before we can go further. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Montreal?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the young folks and other folks who came from Dawkins to make the request very eloquently. And I would like to make, if we can't put it on the agenda now, I'd like to make a request that our next council member, that we put that building up for a vote for council, whether or not that building can go to Western Fairfield, where it was originally voted to go to Western Fairfield. Didn't necessarily say 8.12 acres of land, but it certainly said the first building of recreation we were starting in Western Fairfield. So I hope that we can put that on the agenda for a vote up or down for that building on the next meeting. Is that possible?
We will, up or down, right. We will certainly do that. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Rogers.
Tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock at the Taylor Creek Landing, there's going to be a program that has to do with the presentation and the Life Jacket Saver project. And so if anybody would like to attend that tomorrow, it's at the Taylor Creek Landing. And also, my heart has been very heavy for two families in this county, then that we've lost two people in the last 2 days that were Monticello people that attended Monticello at the same time I did. So if y'all just be remembering them and any other families that have lost dear ones in the last week, it would be greatly appreciated.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to take this time to thank all the folks that actually came out this evening to attend our council meeting. I can tell you that this is a very passionate subject. I've actually had the opportunity to speak with a few of you about the issue concerning our county administrator. I would tell you we voted on this at an open special meeting last Wednesday, coming from a corporate background. Anytime I discuss personnel matters overall, I think personnel matters should stay private. I do know that county or government overall is different in the private sector versus the public sector, because we're accountable to the folks that live in this county. And I will still tell you, I feel very uncomfortable, even if it was one of you all, having discussed your personal information in public. I guess that's what we do. With the maybe 2 or 3 of you all that I have spoken with, knowing how things can be photoshopped. I know how, I heard tonight that there was a timeline of from 2010 until 2013. I don't think 2013 comes into play. I think that's how things get put out in the public. I think that's just when this this information was actually looked into, not when the actual emails were transferred, if that's what you want to call it. It was from 2010. I do have more questions. I did not have the opportunity to speak to anyone from SLED, but I would tell you, if it was me personally, I would like to know how the legitimacy of the emails, I guess. And that's one thing I would really like to know. I think I would owe it to any one of you all, if you actually work for me, that if something is easy to put something out in the public, but I would like to make sure that it's verified and it's legitimate before it's done. I think that's only fair to anyone. I don't care what it is. And I talk all the time, especially to my wife, about how we have budget sessions and we talk about things and the money that we're spending in the county, but I see very few people that come out. Something we talk about money and taxes, but when we have an issue like this, we can fill up this room. And I'm reminded of the young man from the Dawkins area and all the folks that came out and said, we need a community center. In order to have community centers, you have to raise taxes. We've got the side that says we need to spend our money better. We don't want to raise taxes. So it's not an easy job. I mean, it really is not an easy job. You try to make the best decisions. But I would tell you, this personnel thing has been totally different than anything that I've ever been involved with. As an employee, working for a Fortune 50 company, and working on the corporate side, to being in the public side as well. But I would also like to say that me as a person, as someone that lives in this county and being on county council, I'm still concerned about the legitimacy of all the information. And before I could actually to sit down right today, other than what I've seen, and tell you what's right or wrong, I can sit here and tell you I still do not have that information because I was not privy to that information. So other than what we've seen circulated in the public, but I don't think that's how you try someone. I think you get the details when we go to court. You get your facts straight, and you investigate to make sure that you have all the facts, and then you make a decision. So, thank you all for coming out tonight. And thank you for your passion and your love for the county. Being a resident, grew up in Fairfield County. They graduated from Winsboro High School. They still call Ridgeway, South Carolina home. I love this county. I try to go to bed every night feeling that I've done the best thing that I can. I think that I'm informed. There are certain things that are outside of my scope, but I still feel that we all love this county and we want to see this county do well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Mr. Moshfegh, you got another comment?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr. Chairman, I'll just offer a synopsis. As you might know, I had put an article in the paper to have a meeting in the Greenbrier community, and we held that meeting. About 25 to 30 people came, and the purpose of that meeting was for the Greenbrier community. They got a little sidetrack about what people wanted, personally on a particular project. And that was not my purpose of having that meeting. It was for the Greenbrier community. Folks had to talk about, folks wanted a substation. So what would it take to get a substation? Did you talk to the sheriff? Do it cost money? County, we don't have anything to do with that. You want a crime watch situation set up, get together in the community and discuss that. Do you need roads paved? It wasn't just recreation that was going on. Do you need road paved? Or do you need transportation for senior citizens? What's going on with the youth? It was a bigger question than just recreation. And I think the meeting got a little sidetracked. Out of 25 to 30 people, there are 3,000 people in that district, and there's close to 2,000 registered voters. And I can remember when Pastor Jeffco was living here, I think he offered this council some money to build a facility, and I think the council had denied that at that particular time for whatever reason, money I can't recall. But even at that time, as powerful and as Pastor Jeffco was, the community didn't support him. They never came out. He called them to meetings, they didn't come out. So if people want something, they're gonna have to get up off their duff and participate, do the necessary research that it take. If you want something, you bring it before council, do your diligence, study the situation and bring it. Now, I support anything in my district if we're gonna do the diligent work that need to come before council. And I just wanted to share that I don't think 25 or 30 people can speak for 33,000 people. And I'd like to see more participation in the whole district, not just, we got Greenbrier, you got Bethel, you got Cedar Creek Road, you got Cedar Creek Lake, we got Monticello, you got Jenkinsville. I go on with other little communities not even mentioned in here. That many communities are in the 4th district. So those meetings and subject matters is to be continued, and I look for that community to get together, organize, and continue to have their meetings and bring stuff before the council.
Okay. Two things that I'd like to comment on. One is, Mr. Chap made mention up here about the funding that was going to be available through the bonds for recreation. Mr. Chap made a real good point. Each district, according to this thing, is going to have $500,000 to spend. If you put a building up in a location in your district, that's your $500,000. If you put a gymnasium up with meeting rooms and that kind of stuff, then you spent your $500,000. My question and Mr. Trapp's question was, how do you put a building up in one part of your district? Mr. Marshall just talking about you represent 3,000 people. How do you decide where that building goes that is advantageous for all 3,000 of your residents that's in your district? You're gonna put up one building. That's how much money you got. The second thing is about that building is, buildings go up, guess what go in those buildings? Folks to maintain them and run them and oversee them and make sure that the children or the adults are safe and that kind of stuff. So which means what? Increase taxes. Okay? So when you start talking about we want this and we want that, how is it advantageous for everybody in your district? If I put one in Greenbrier, what does it do for the folks in Simpson? Just a thought. The second thing is, one gentleman come up here and said that we met on the first night with this thing with Mr. Heinley, and I met with council to advise council that 2 days prior to that I had an appointment, a meeting with SLED. And I told the council that night in executive session, and I come back out and told the public that same night, that we would withhold anything that we were going to do until we got the whole story. Until we got the whole story. Not because the public made us, as was stated from this podium right here, the public